And when you're spiritually weak, the devil will try to destroy you. I became paralyzed, not because of anything physical, but because my best friend, who I had many journeys with in the world, shot himself. He was supposed to come home with me after a long 4 perilous years in the military, and we were supposed to keep conquering the world. Well, so I thought. In 2018, I joined the military, chasing God into becoming a chaplain, in hopes to preach the word and fulfill the calling I felt I had on my life. To get straight to the point, the summation of the story starts at the beginning, with the phone call to a chaplain, and his exact words were, "Watch out in the military for temptation, for it's heavy in the service." And that's where I got the bright idea. Let's go out into the world, get our own experience. I figured, hey, let's build those decision-making skills. And sadly, that's where I made my last good one. I found myself in the world and I was learning a lot. I was still developing discernment. I was adventuring, starting new journeys, taking new walks in life, experiencing new things. I felt it was all going very successful. And I felt as though since I was making good decisions, that I was headed in the right direction. But you know, we deceive ourselves a lot of times by our own actions. We think because we do a good deed, or we think because we do a good action, that we're not headed in the wrong direction. But many times, things seem, they look well, but they're not. And that's where it gets dangerous. But my other flaw too is that I'm a man. I'm a man in the military, ready to take on anything. My middle name is Dangerous, kind of like Austin Powers, you know. And I've kind of always been overconfident. It's kind of one of my downfalls, but And that's called self-idolatry. And as a good Christian, no such thing, only a good God, but I digress. That the thing that pulls us away from the glory and leadership of God is our own good ideas. Which is the only reason I know good in the first place is because of Jesus. But you know, we'll always try to find a way to take credit for something. The only reason why I know to avoid all bad things, to avoid all things that could hurt me, is because of a good God. But I seem to forget that. And not everything you go out into the world for is bad. Sometimes you want to gain new experiences, pick up some new knowledge that you never had before, go to new areas, or maybe even revisit old things that are part of your past, or that give you nostalgia, or see new things that you never saw before, big or small. Really though, it's all the world, and the world is the same no matter where you go. And you give yourself that same excuse from before. Oh, I'm resembling Jesus. I'm resembling what he would do. This is how it's supposed to be. So I can't be lost. I'm on the right path. I have to be on the right direction. Found myself in cheap places all too familiar that I already knew of. I found myself attaching myself to things that, maybe I just wanted a partner. Maybe I was alone. I couldn't really tell you. I couldn't hear the voice of God anyways. I just wander and wander. And I found myself growing spiritually weak. I found myself not paying attention to my spiritual prowess. I went from a Goku to a Krillin. I became alright with average. I became your average mall cop, but spiritually. And when you're spiritually weak, the devil will try to destroy you. I became paralyzed, not because of anything physical, but because my best friend, who I had many journeys with in the world, shot himself. He was supposed to come home with me after a long 4 perilous years in the military, and we were supposed to keep conquering the world. Well, so I thought. I became lost. I was immovable. For my own mind, I went in every single way except towards God. And myself, I was never going to leave. There was never going to be an exodus. I became paranoid with death, and at every corner of every day, I was sure I was next to die. I went to the world to find more of who I was, and I lost my whole reality, or why I started, until one day God sat me down, or I had no choice but to. I was completely devastated, defeated, and lost. I mean, the only thing that works at that point is your ears. It took losing myself, losing my voice, to hear his. What you come to realize is, he was there the whole time. And although you wouldn't call on him, he called you back. True grace. He came for the one lost sheep. The one I thought didn't matter. The one who was dead. Listen. Your Father is calling you, and he wants you to come home.